Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to NS9 Postgame Show, part of Pittsburgh Baseball Now. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we got Tyler. Tyler, we got a Pirates victory, 1-0 over the Marlins. How you doing?
I'm here. Thank God I'm here because Jim's just too busy going out there hanging out in the bullpen with Tyler Beatty.
I know, right? He is. Now, this is what I don't understand. So for those who don't know, Jim is actually in Pittsburgh. He was at the Pirates game. Why is he not like our on-field correspondent right now?
So, I mean, he could probably also ask why I'm not there.
Why aren't you there?
I didn't feel like it.
That was kind of the plan too. Weren't you guys thinking about meeting up?
Well, my plans change often.
Clearly.
Originally, I was going to move into my new house today, and then, like, when that opened up, I was like, I don't really want to go to Pittsburgh and watch Josh VanMeter play first base. And, like, is Jim really worth that to me? Is Jim worth that time to me?
Let's be honest. You're not really a people person either. So,
oh, not at all.
I could definitely. You're the type. You're clearly the type. Like, there's plans, right, that are made, and you're hoping and praying they get canceled. I know that's you.
I'm looking for a reason to cancel them.
So, yeah. So, fortunately, you didn't see Jim. So, therefore, I'm not here alone. But again, you know, Jim, when does he ever do anything anymore? He just doesn't. And again, he could be like the on-field court. We could have Jim in right now, having an interview with whomever.
Let's be honest. Look at Jim's tweets today. He was in no condition to be an on-field correspondent.
What? Because he had bad takes, like he always does.
Yeah, he might have put a few away.
Well, let's talk about this game, anyways. So once again, Pirates do win 1-0. A lot of good pitching on the Pirates end. Jose Quintana gets to start. Maybe his last start as a Pirate. Could be one more. Unlikely to be more than that. I know if you had it your way, there would be. I'm still on the fence. But regardless, he pitched really, really good. Now, mind you, it's the Marlins offense we talked about, right? They're lacking some people right now. But he looked very effective. The curveball was working. He goes 7 scoreless, 4 hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts.
Yeah, Quintana looked really good. He located really well. Like you mentioned, the curveball. I don't know if it's the Marlins getting back to being the Marlins, but they swung at a lot of pitches that probably shouldn't have been swung at, but it's what Quintana's done all year. He's looked really good. He hits his spots. His command's been very, very efficient this year, and he's a guy that, like you mentioned, I'd like to have in the rotation again maybe next year. I'd be okay keeping him. That's probably a conversation for Thursday. I'd be completely fine keeping him. I don't actually know what the schedule looks like. I don't know.
Right. I assume they probably play because they play every Thursday, it seems like anymore. But, I mean, it takes 2 to tango. I get what you're saying. And, again, like that's why I'm on the fence. If he were to sign an extension based on the terms, what that would look like to not trade him and do that. But, I mean, trust me, I'm not putting anything in the Pirates' favor here and saying that they've even attempted this. But it could be like this is his last big contract. I mean, this is why you signed this deal. He's doing exactly what he needed to do in signing this, and this is going to be probably his last like big payday. So maybe he does want to test free agency. So I'm just putting it out there. Again, I'm not trying to put something in the Pirates that doesn't even, hasn't even taken place yet, but that is a possibility. But regardless of that being said, if this is the last start, this was a really, really good start. And like you said, he has been very consistent all year. I know he had a kind of a rough spot, maybe like the past 3 starts, if you want to say. The last one was really, really bad. The other 2 were just not really what he's been doing, and that kind of inflated the ERA since. But right now it's at a 3.7. He has looked very, very good this year in relatively terms of what he is.
What's funny is, like, if you look back at what year was it that everybody was clamoring for Jose Quintana in the trade? Was it like 2016-ish?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a 3-year span of
Bell and Glass now.
Quintana to the Pirates.
Yeah.
It was a long stretch. If we got this Quintana out of that trade, I think we'd be okay. Like, as a fan base, we'd be happy with it. And now we're getting it on the super cheap.
Super cheap. Super, super, super duper cheap. And I think you could argue, I'm not going to out here and say it's a definitive thing, but I think you could argue, and I just looked him up real quick, that this is a better version than what the Cubs got from Jose Quintana.
Oh, yeah. I absolutely think you would argue that. He wasn't great there.
Right. Now, the 1 year stood out. So 2019, he had a 3.5 WAR. But I mean, his ERA is a 4.68. Like, it was basically just off of innings and such. Yeah. When you look at ERA, 403, 468, 450. Right now, 370 with the Pirates. I know the strikeouts are down a little bit, but this is probably the best version that you've seen since that trade.
Oh, I think you definitely can argue that this is the best Quintana's been since he's been with the White Sox.
So, does this last start, since he shoved, does this mean now Pirates are getting a big time prospect for him if the trade happens?
No, I
can we put things in relative terms here?
Man, he's just in a contract situation and an age situation that he's not gonna receive much. It's just not gonna happen, and he doesn't have the name power or anything like that, or the pedigree to really receive the type of return that I think people hope he will, which is why I'm on board of trying to hang on to him. But if someone comes and blows him off, just blows their doors off, sure, I'll trade him, but I'm not doing it for a lottery pick. Kind of like we talked about with Vogelbach last night. I'm not doing that again. But I'm absolutely not taking a Vogelbach return for him. But I'm not taking a low A prospect that might turn into a Jose Quintana sometime 10 years later.
I think it's to be hard to hope that a return in this type of trade would even pan out to be a Jose Quintana. But see, I guess this is why I'm on the fence, because he is in a contract year, right? I mean, obviously it's a 1 year contract. So, I mean, he is a rental. There's no point of keeping him if you don't extend him. If you look big picture, what's the point of keeping him? It's not going to help out what your ultimate goal is to get a championship down the line, right? So, I mean, this is why you sign a guy like Quintana. This is why you flip a guy like Quintana. If you're not, going to have him long term. So I totally get that. Now, obviously, what you're saying here is, the return, we just can't go after limited ceilings and such. And we go back to the Tyler Anderson one, and that kind of stung a little bit. But let's say this: what is your mindset? Do you think Jose Quintana has more trade value right now than what Tyler Anderson had at that point in time? Because both were this is a good example. Both came out of not so much nowhere for Tyler Anderson, but you wouldn't have thought anything. And then they're cruising. I mean, they're looking very solid at the deadline.
I think they're about the same. Quintana's been better than Anderson was, but he's also older, I believe, if I'm correct. Anderson's early 30s.
Well, yeah, actually, the thing is, Quintana is only 33. How old is
he? I want to say he's like 35 at this point.
I know,
right? I could be crazy.
Forever, though. Yeah, Tyler Anderson's 32. So, I mean, it's just really a year older.
How old's Quintana now? 33?
33.
Okay. Well, at any rate, the difference is that Anderson really wasn't much different than he had been through his career. Quintana had a long, rough stretch. Quintana's pitching better than Anderson did. with the Pirates. So I think it all evens itself out, but like you said, they got burnt with the Anderson deal.
Yeah, that one
I
kind of
don't
stung.
I don't really want to see him get burned again, especially where they're at pitching staff wise going into next year.
Mhm.
I'd rather just take that shot to try to re-sign him.
Yeah, well, ultimately, but that's like where I'm at with you too. Like the thing about Quintana this year also is, so when we talked in April, especially, and even like into May, we were really talking about keeping Quintana or trading him and such. And I was all about trading him. Not that the peripherals showed it, but I'm like, listen, this isn't going to hold up. This just is not going to hold up. You want to trade him because eventually he's going to turn into Jose Quintana, which you thought. But to be honest, like what he's doing this year shows to be sustainable. As a matter of fact, his FIP outperforms his ERA even. So it shows he's actually kind of a little bit unlucky in how well he's doing, right? So I think that's one thing you look at too. Like what you're saying here about Tyler Anderson is he pretty much has done the same. He was in cores. There's a lot of stuff outside of that looked pretty good. So like the signing happened. I know us, Pirates fans were kind of excited about the signing. But Jose Quintana, like you're saying, he's old. It seems like he's washed up and now a resurgence year. So I think there's a little bit of that. Well, is this real? Is this going to hold up? So that's why I think like what you're saying is they're probably about the similar return or value, I should say. But I'm a believer in Quintana, and I feel like most clubs will be as well. When you look at again, like at the peripherals, this is legit. So I don't know what the return's going to be. I think he's good as gone.
Yeah, the other part of it is the front office has to know if in this specific situation, does Quintana want to be here? Did he find something here? We don't know that. We don't know if maybe some click with him and he's comfortable here. Does he want to stay here? If he does want to stay here, do not trade him. But we don't know that.
I'm with you on that. And I guess the whole point of what we're getting at is even in hopes that it's not like a Tyler Anderson type of trade. What we're trying to say here, put in perspective, is stop it with your trading Jose Quintana and getting some big prospect. You're not. Even as how well he's pitching right now, you're not. It's 2 months and hopefully a postseason. It's still Jose Quintana. He's still not lining up to be a 1, 2, or 3 on any playoff type of roster. So you're not getting a top 100 guy. You're not coming close to that. You're probably going to get something with hopefully like high upside. That was a downfall with like the Tyler Anderson one. There wasn't a whole lot of upside in that trade. So, I mean, that's what you're hoping for. Like you're hoping for a Tony Watson type of return that you can get ONeill Cruz. That worked out, but most cases that doesn't. But you have
that doesn't
ONeill
happen
Cruz
too often
now.
anymore.
Right. But it's like you have an ONeill Cruz now, even though it was a very, very high risk in doing so. In a Tyler Anderson, you're hoping to probably get an organizational depth catcher and maybe this pitcher that could probably ultimately become a reliever.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a tough situation where the Pirates are right now. And it all really just, like I said, comes back to where Quintana is and what the change actually was. You got to know whether it was, well, one, whether he's comfortable coming back here. Because if he's not, then you have to trade him, which we don't
Right.
know.
Right.
And if you trade him and he is comfortable coming back here, he's not coming back here. That's just not going to happen.
Most likely. I'm just put that most likely. I mean, I'm not going to just throw it out. I'm not going to put a definitive answer on and say it's not going to happen. But that is the issue in trading him is now you're also giving an ability to go to another club and maybe fall in love there and go into the postseason and win a championship. And now he's coming back there. So,
but there also
test
is
free
something
agency.
to be said about just doing right by the player. If he wants to
Mm-hmm.
go play for a contender, maybe you entertain the idea a little more. It's not a cut and dry situation, obviously. Like if he wants to go play for a contender now that he's flip it around, he doesn't want to be here. Not that he doesn't want to be here, but maybe just he knows he's on the last leg of his career. He's turned it around. I want to go play somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Then you might entertain it a little more.
Right. Cool. So let's move forward from Jose Quintana. But again, he had a great game. But let's go down the pitching line. I mean, Will Crow came in. He's still looking really, really good. I know he had like a little rough spot there too.
He looked fine-ish. She struggled a hair.
He still did the job.
He did.
What's your issues about Crow tonight?
2 base runners.
Yeah. Well, was it 2?
Yeah, runners on first and second.
Was it the error though?
It's true. Brian Hayes had a very bad day.
He did. Now that second one, okay, but that first one should have been picked by Josh.
It should have, yes.
Also, I mean,
second one was bad. First one, VanMeter's got to have.
Yes. So it's like I don't put too much on that on Crow. I mean, he had 2 base runners, like you said, but that one really wasn't his fault.
Yeah, I mean, the velocity is still kind of there. Saw him like 95-ish. The changeup still works. He's really leaning on that right now. Like,
well, he's really been all year, it seems.
Yeah, but it's like his primary pitch right now.
I mean, I feel like it's kind of been all year though.
Yeah, but at some point, that changeup bottom of zone, like they're not gonna. At some point, it's gonna get picked up, and teams. It seems like they're starting to pick up the changeup bottom of zone. A 2-seamer might work for him a hair because it has the same action.
That's right. Yeah, my bad.
Crow's first base runner that's right.
Was yeah, that looked painful. By the way, God, that's a broken wrist. Me, not a doctor, but playing a doctor on the stream. That's a broken wrist.
I was in and out of this entire game. Like, I was at the bar, obviously, if you haven't heard me speak yet.
But yeah, I mean, Will Crow, like you said, I mean, that's the thing is about the changeup. It's been a very, very good pitch for him.
It's an excellent pitch.
Right. But I guess I get what you're saying too.
Like, at some point, you have to be able to throw something to make that changeup not your primary pitch. And a 2-seamer would really work with him. It's the same action.
You've been pushing this 2-seamer for years, by the way, too. And it's all coming back, just as you predicted.
We're just coming right back around. I always said that Charlie Morton was going to be like the king of everything. He was going to run that ground ball revolution. Then he jumped into that like upper velocity curveball, screw the 2-seamer. And it's all going to come back around to that 2-seamer. He's going to ride off in the sunset with it.
And that's how he's going to retire. But yeah, so again, Crow does go 1 inning, 1 hit, the hit by pitch, which again was brutal. 2 strikeouts, holds the lead, 1-0. David Bednar comes in. He does allow a base runner with a walk. No hits, 2 strikeouts, gets the save. 17th of the season. Thoughts on Bednar?
Very good to not see him throw 2 innings. Those are my thoughts.
Now, that's something you've been seeing a lot lately, especially since coming off of the IL. So I pray we're in that space. Now, mind you, which we'll talk about too with this trade, I know Holderman's being sent down in AAA right now. I'm sure they're sorting some things out with those roster, the trade deadline coming up or whatever. But you have Crow, you have Bednar, you have De Los Santos, Stratton-ish, unless he's traded, Underwood. And then maybe Holderman coming on. Like, hopefully the thing is there's a bullpen that you can semi-rely on and not just have to throw out Bednar for 2-3 innings. So maybe this would be good to see as well, 1-inning outings for David Bednar.
Yeah, they need to. Or else his arm's going to fall off.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about that quote real quick from Shelton about wanting to get their eyes on Holderman in the minor leagues since they got him? You just traded for him. You're telling me you didn't have eyes on him? You should already know.
I mean, wouldn't that kind of be like the Mets saying, well, we're going to put Vogelbach in AAA to get our eyes on him first?
Yeah. We want to take a look at him before we Throw them up there.
right?
What the? You guys need to like get a PR coach around here.
That's been their problem for years.
Their PR is so bad. Just
It is.
come out. Yeah, we're trying to figure out what we're doing with the major league roster. So,
But do you know why the PR is also so bad? So they
it's
always
top
do
down.
what you expect them to do without telling you that that's why they're doing it. And they do it time and time again, and they prove time and time again that they are going to do things like this. Hence, like Roansy Contreras, as we talked, like he will make his starts
Yeah.
in Indy, and he's not coming back up in August. And here we are. So the thing about this is I get it, but the wordplay that's used in the whole thing, again, I understand it. Like I know you made the trade. I didn't expect them to go to AAA. I mean, we talked last night. There was a question in the chat, like who's the odd man out? We talked about maybe Dylan Peters and such, but I understand the deadline's coming up. I mean, they made the deal today. It wasn't on August 2nd. So maybe, they don't want to make that move just yet. They don't want to definitively say it's going to be Dylan Peters today. Let's let things play out. Maybe you move an arm. Maybe you move Stratton. Maybe you move, who knows, Beatty, Dylan Peters too. I don't know. Maybe you end up moving some of those guys. And that way you don't have to cut someone. Just by attrition, there's a spot open and now you can bring them up. So I'm not hating on it. I don't hate that they went and did it. I expected them in MLB, but I don't hate that they did it. It kind of makes some sense. It's just a timing thing. The Pirates traded Austin Bryce last year. I keep saying Austin Bryce. The Pirates traded. I can't do it. Who was it again?
Now you got me thinking Austin Bryce.
I will say Austin Bryce forever.
Can we just the issue is that there are a lot of very bad relievers on this roster, and they acquired one that should be good.
Who would you option?
I don't know if I'd option any. I'd just get rid of them. Like, how much longer do we have to watch bad freaking players?
Well, I think that's what I'm getting at. I think this is kind of where I'm getting at. It wasn't Austin Bryce, but whoever the hell it was, it went to the Red Sox for Michael Chavis.
Austin Davis, good Lord.
Davis, thank God. I mean, they were able to trade Austin Davis. So we're at the point where it's like, let's DFA Dylan Peters. What if there is a little bit of flyers on Dylan Peters and you're able to just trade him? Now, it's not going to be for much, obviously. But, like, are you just going to DFA him because this guy's here? Or are you going to play it out, give him to the highest bidder, get something for him in return, opposed to nothing, and then just call up Holderman? Like, that's just where I'm at. Like, I understand it. It's to me, this is all paper stuff. It's just because of the timing of the deadline. And that's why I'm okay with it. And as far as the optioning thing, that's why I want to bring that up. Like, I'm not going to punish De Los Santos and option him because he's doing the job because this trade happened. Like he stays there. This is the new guy. Welcome to Pittsburgh. Here's Indianapolis for now. We'll bring you back up when things are. So I guess that's where I'm at. Like, I'm not going to DFA guys that might have some fillers on them, but I'm also not going to option guys that are here that actually are doing their job.
I'm tired of this team. They're exhausting. Everything. It's just one thing after another with them. And I'm tired of talking about, like, it's just once. Like, this really, like you said, it's a non-issue. They did what they did. Their bullpen stinks. It is what it is. But it's just one thing after another where they're just clinging on to everything they have. Every single roster spot. And it's a tug of war game right now where they're just grabbing every single piece of rope they can.
Right.
And that piece of rope is completely ripped. And they're just falling down by it.
And like, that's what the issue in this is. I don't have issue in this. It's just that when you have this problem and you do operate in this way with every single thing, even the times that it is right, it just looks the same as everything else, right? Like when you're doing this with Roansy right now, and then you happen to do this with this guy actually makes sense. Again, like I can understand the reason for this today, but it's the same thing as all the other stuff. And It's just a bad taste. So I just want to put it out there. I get this. I understand this. I don't have a problem with this right now. We'll see him up here in early August. There it is. Let's move on.
Let's talk about the game. Hitters.
So as far as the offense goes, hits were strung along. I mean, the Pirates did collect 9 hits on the day. The big one was, by all surprise, Yoshi. He had 101, 104 mile per hour fast. I can't speak tonight either. He had 104 or 101. There it is. 101 mile an hour single. Scores the run. Obviously the winning run. But yeah, everyone collected. It seemed like everyone on the team collected 1 hit.
Yeah. I could do without Greg Allen in the lineup ever again.
Okay.
This team just where do I want to go with it? Because there's many things I want to talk about, but I don't want to see Greg Allen anymore. I'll push that aside. I really did like ONeill Cruz at bats today. I thought he had very good at bats, especially the first one. We saw him getting the better counts today. First at bat, hit a 100-mile-an-hour laser. Hardly swung. Got caught. It is what it is. And then baseball's weird. You end up with a single on a ball that should have been foul, but the groundskeeper helped you out.
Right.
But I really did like his at-bats a lot more today.
He lit off on a few sliders.
Yeah, and he swung early in counts. The lefty that came in, he didn't hit any of the first pitches, but they were there. He swung finally, fouled him off. But I like the approach a lot more today than I have in a long time.
Yeah. The last at-bat was rough, although that second strike was clearly not a strike, but he did watch strike 3 go right by him. So, no excuse for that, but that was a terrible call on the second one. But yeah, I mean, he did look a little bit better. But what is funny, so I think I counted, so again, the Pirates had 9 hits today. I think I counted before the show 4 hits that were 65 mile an hour or less. So, just an odd game today as well. I know they had 9 hits. They did win. But so many of their hits were just like dribblers. Just right up the line. They're like bunting for hits pretty much.
Well, to be fair, they should have won 2-0 because Heineman was safe by a mile. He was safe. There's no question he was safe. Don't even give me your Florida, halfway, I'm a Marlins fan kind of.
No, nothing of that. I don't know what blocking the plate is. And neither does MLB.
He was safe no matter what. He beat the tag.
Well, did they call him out for?
See, that I don't know. That's a question I don't know yet, whether they challenge that part or that part. But he was safe. He was safe.
Well, I guess actually
he touched the plate before they tagged him.
The blocking the plate wouldn't matter because he's safe. So
I don't know what the issue was there.
I will say this. I think he was safe too, but did the replays look terrible live. Also? I couldn't understand, why was there not a good replay on that? Everything just looked awful.
I'm going to be honest. I thought live he was safe.
Well, same.
I didn't really think it was close. But they won.
They did. So, like I said, all those, and then Josh VanMeter's wasn't even a hit, but his also was 63. So he also got on base. That would have been the 5th one of 65 or under. He actually ended up on second because their pitcher, I think it was Pop at the time, decided to throw it at first and overthrow the base. So, anyways, yeah, it was a weird game offensively, but pitching on both sides was really good. And actually, shout out to the Marlins. They had the rookie pitcher start today, Max Meyer. He got injured pretty much right away. Turned into a bullpen
shouting
game.
out shit for them.
Oh no, I'm
This
just saying that it was a good pitching game on both sides. They turned
no,
a bullpen
it
game.
was a horrible hitting game. This team
Well,
couldn't hit a ball off of a bunch of relievers that had to string together 7 and a third. Right? Yeah.
yeah.
No, this team, the Pirates offense was pathetic.
Okay, fine.
It
was a
has
mixture of
nothing to
that.
do with their relievers. No, they did nothing good.
Well, either way, I was going to state, I mean, it turned to a bullpen game. Clearly not for injury. You don't want to see injury, but when you see that happen, okay, it's time to turn on the Jets. Let's get some scoring going on. And I mean, the Marlins pretty much shut down the Pirates still. But
Yeah,
your point,
that's
yes,
what
the
happens
Pirates
when you
offense.
have a lineup with Kevin Newman, Greg Allen, Yoshi Tsutsugo, Josh VanMeter.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Who else is in the lineup today?
Well,
Cal Mitchell. He sucks too.
Yeah. Can we talk about Josh VanMeter a little more here? I just want to bring something up here because this grinds my gears all season long. But the whole issue about Josh VanMeter, even to another level, we just talked about the ONeill Cruz error, which is because Josh VanMeter couldn't pick it, right? And he just can't.
Brian Hayes, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, my bad. I said Cruz, Hayes. So the Hayes error was simply because Josh VanMeter couldn't pick the ball. We've seen that time and time again. We've seen Josh VanMeter not be able to catch a pop-up. We've seen Josh VanMeter not know where first base even is to get the out. So he's just a terrible defender. He's a terrible batter. I understand the righty-lefty platoon. I understand against righties, Michael Chavis isn't good. But can we just get to the point and just discuss Michael Chavis' worst is versus righties. And he's got a 71 rated runs created plus against righties. Basically, top of my head, I think he's like a 210 hitter, a 263 on base guy, right? Like a 355 slugging. Do you know what Josh VanMeter is at his best versus righties? A 73 weighted run created plus. 210, 368, 355 slugging. Like they're virtually the same player. So why do we have to platoon them? Michael Chavis is clearly the elite defender between the two of them. So if they're going to both just be a black hole in the lineup, don't you want to at least have someone who can catch a ball?
Yeah, it's because your manager's an idiot.
I'm just so over the splits.
It might not even be the manager. It could be top down. But whoever's making that decision's not doing a great job.
Why do we have to give Josh VanMeter any at-bats, any playtime? He is a liability everywhere. Hey, Colin Dunlap, do you want to know what a liability is? It's Josh VanMeter.
This team, it's July 23rd, and they gave Greg Allen a start in center field.
Well,
Greg Allen has
because this team doesn't have any outfielders.
Greg Allen has spent his freaking career being terrible at everything.
Right.
He's 29. And this team's trotting him out there while 4 guys are hanging out in the minor leagues. 5 at least years younger than him. We'll play him in AA and AAA. While Greg Allen gets to run out there and Jake Marisnick gets to run out there.
Now, Jake Marisnick I have no issue with.
At this point, I don't want to see either of them.
Well, I'm sorry. Jake Marisnick has trade value.
Oh,
Jake, he's coming off. No,
we're not going back.
No, I'm sorry. No,
deal.
I'm going to fight and argue with this. The difference and the reason that you want to see Marisnick and not Greg Allen is because Greg Allen isn't getting traded. He has no value anyway. He doesn't add value to the team in playing. He doesn't add value to the team in the trade.
That's fine.
So there's no point of having him.
All day.
But Jake Marisnick has value. So let him play. He's also a very good defender, so he helps the club. Trade him away.
We can argue about this all day.
Move on.
But Greg Allen should not take a bats away from Jake Marisnick if you're going to trade him then.
That is correct.
Or the fact that you got Bay, Marcano, Swaggerty. Who's the fourth one I'm forgetting? Oh, yeah, the guy that they sent down. Sawinski, they hit 2
The
home
guy
runs
who's sick
yesterday.
on the team. Right. Yeah.
But instead, they were going to trot out Greg freaking Allen, who can't even hit in the minors. Never hit in the majors. I'm sorry. Greg Allen is the new Anthony Alford.
Stop it. Don't do
No,
this to us.
actually, he might be worse. Greg Allen's
Don't
bad.
do this.
He's a bad baseball player. He hit above his level last year. And now the Pirates, the dumbest team in baseball, bought into it. So now we got him. And now they got Ben Sherrington's got to show, well, I'm smart. I signed this guy.
All right, enough Greg Allen. We're done with Greg Allen. Okay.
But he's hitting freaking second.
He is hitting second. I
ONeill
get it.
Cruz is hitting 7th.
Okay, now that's a problem. I get that. I get that. That is an absolute problem.
Cal Mitchell's hitting ahead of ONeill Cruz.
That's a mistake.
Josh VanMeter did tonight, didn't he?
Everyone did. I get it. Oh, everyone except for Yoshi. All right, I want to move forward. We're coming on to 40 minutes on the post-game show in a 1-0 win against the Marlins. Okay, so we don't need to talk about Greg Allen anymore. But what I do want to bring up, continuing to talk about this catching situation. We were able to talk about Jason DeLay yesterday. Today, Tyler Heineman. Now, mind you, the hit came off of it was another 60-mile-per-hour exit velocity hit. The hit wasn't too sexy, right? But it gets a hit. But defensively, let's talk about that gun, that throw to second. I mean, we're seeing. I'm sorry, like we are seeing with Jason DeLay and Tyler Heineman a very competent catching situation. By the way, Michael Perez gets traded to the Mets today.
I just read comments sometimes and I get annoyed.
But the catching tandem.
Yeah.
No,
I like
it's
where we're
sad.
at right now. I do
but
like
that's
where they're
a bright spot on this team. And the catching tandem is actually bad. It's not good.
Yeah, it's not
for this
great,
team.
I'm happy with a defensive first catcher position, I guess. Like at some point, yeah, obviously they want some production out of there offensively. But at this term in the rebuild, I'm okay with where we're at.
Yeah. I'm just very pleasant. Like it's very pleasant. That's the best way I can put it. It's just a very pleasant position for me. There's no complaints. You don't get too much excitement. It's not flashy. It's not bad. You're just comfortable and pleasant with it.
Yeah, like they call games well, they frame well, they throw well. They're major league catchers. We haven't seen those in a while. Well,
and
I guess
Michael Perez
Stallings was
got
good,
the Pirates cash considerations today. Don't know how.
Yeah.
Don't know how. But again,
$1.50.
going back to my whole point, if Michael Perez was able to get traded today to the Mets, I'm sure someone's going to want Dylan Peters. I'm sure somebody's going to want Chris Stratton. Like, if you can trade Michael Perez to a team that has number one prospect in baseball, that is a catcher who's in AAA, then you could probably trade Dylan Peters and tie it back. That's why I'm good with Holderman. I was going to call him Handyman with Holderman in Indy. All right. So
whatever.
Denaro talking about DeLay is going to earn these post games a mature rating. It's my catcher, man. Anything else we want to talk about for this game before we get out of here? It's been 40 minutes. I don't know how we talk about the Pirates every single night for 40 minutes, but we do it.
About this team for an hour and 30 minutes every night, but
I gotta reel you in. Like, I'm stopping. I'm making this a hard stop, Tyler. We gotta stop.
There's no, like, I'm not the one needing reeled in right now. You're the one that brought up the catching position.
The catching position. All right. Yeah. Let's get out of here. But again, anything before we do leave you wanted to bring up? You're good?
Nope. I'm all good.
Save it for tomorrow.
Oh, God, I gotta do this again.
Yes.
Oh yeah, thanks,
So
Jim.
tomorrow, Marlins, Pirates, 135. Mitch Keller start versus Sandy Alcantara. Good night.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
I'm going to update the banner right now. I'm going to make it 39 and 56. That way I don't have to worry about it tomorrow. We're out of here. Bye-bye.